We are here in Kochi for Volkswagen's annual brand conference, and the brand has just unveiled a wide range of variants and multiple colors to flesh out its current model range. And talking to me about this and more is the brand director, Ashish Gupta. Ashish, thanks so much for talking to us. So Ashish, just coming to a big bang, I wouldn't say a launch, but a kind of, let's say, unveil of many more new variants.
Yes.
Is this part of your whole, let's say, life cycle management, and this is how you're fleshing it out? Has this been planned right from the beginning?
You know, actually, if you look at it from a life cycle planning perspective, I would say the lava blue color was definitely planned. So that's the only big plan we had as part of the overall life cycle management. But many of the things that you see today is based on the feedback that the customers have given us, and many of you have given us, in fact, over the last 1.5 years. When we launched the Virtus, there was a huge demand for the manual version on the 1.5. Similarly, on the Taigun, customers wanted a DSG option in the lower variants of the 1.5. So definitely this is something which I wanted to take on board and bring to the customers. You know, we meet so often, Hormazd, and if I do not respect what you feedback to me, then I'm not doing my job. So that's the whole purpose, and I must commend the entire team in my sales and marketing team, and also the development team at the plant, which have gone out of their way to make these feedbacks possible.
Right, and you know, just coming to the 1.5 manual Virtus, I mean, to be honest, looking at Slavia, it's just around less than 10% of sales.
Yeah.
So not a huge demand in that sense. So is this just to get incremental volumes? Do you think there's a small niche which you needed to address with this?
You know, I think I won't comment on how the Slavia is doing, but for me, the Virtus GT is an icon already. It has become a cult in the last 9 months of its existence in the Indian market. And this cult is growing every day. So my ambition, and I think my sense is that the 1.5 GT Plus manual will do fabulously well on the Virtus.
Any projections on volumes? I mean, how much more incremental volume?
If you look at it, currently my demand levels for the Virtus GT DSG Plus is currently at around 500 to 550 cars a month. Yeah, I am hoping that the manual will, and I have a sense that it will add around 200 to 250 cars a month on that.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So that's...
Of course, it might cannibalize a little bit on the DSG,
right,
but put together, these two variants should do 700 to 800 cars a month.
And that's quite a substantial amount.
That's 40% of my overall sales. Yeah.
Right, and you know, just looking at the other variants, new colors, new trims, obviously, to be honest, the mechanical package is the same, but overall, how much do you see a volume enhancement, given the fact that you also have a lot of competition now, Ashish?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you've got, let's say on the sedan side, you've got City, you've got Verna. SUV side, after you've launched, you've had Hyrider and, you know, the Grand Vitara. So clearly a lot of competition. So, you know, obviously this is to address the competition as well. But looking at your own volumes, can you give us some projections for this year going forward?
You know, volume is a I would say a matter of, or is subject to a host of parameters. It's your product lineup, it's your pricing, it's your network, you know, it's your brand. I believe in working on all parameters that affect volume. You saw in my presentation that currently we operate with 159 touch points. I'm taking that up to 182. That naturally adds volume for you. On the product lineup, we have enriched the product lineup now with these special editions, new colors, new variants, which add, for the lack of a simpler word, newer price points in your lineup, which bring in more customers. You know, you have these colors, new colors, which definitely attract more customers. You have something to talk about in the market, which excites the market once again.
Right.
So that's a 360-degree effort you try to make, and of course keeping very true to the strong base we have with the GN cap rating. So you know, that's the whole plan. You know, how do you pull all the levers which can help you to increase volumes? Right.
So Ashish, what are the sense you're getting from the market in terms of your demand? As you said, to sum up, more let's say outlets, a whole new variant mix and enhance the variant range, a lot of buzz around GN cap. I mean, with these three things, any projection that this year is going to be your best year?
Guy, how much do you want to sell? Yeah. If you were my MD, I would say as less as possible.
But could this be your best? Could this be your best year in that sense? Or what is
it has to be. It has to be, Hormazd. In fact, you know, last year should have been our best, and it was our best in 5 years' time.
Right.
But frankly, from not meeting my ambitions,
Right.
not meeting the plan that we had, primarily because I lost 25% production last year because of semiconductor issues. And when you've launched a new car and you suddenly do not have cars to give to customers, it does affect us. So definitely this year has to be much better than last year and our best ever.
Right. Okay. Ashish, touching upon a point, quite frankly, going forward.
Yeah.
Sense one guess is that Virtus could be your last mass model ICE vehicle.
Yeah.
Given that, I mean, is there a sense of, how do you keep taking it forward? Because yes, with life cycle measures, you can do this much, but you've got competition bringing in all new models and
Sure.
a pipeline of products,
Yep.
whereas 2.0 is done. Sense one gets is you're going to the EVs, which we'll come to, but with ICE and this mechanical package, that's what it is, the engine gearbox combination. So is this going to be a fight for you to kind of, let's say, get the numbers with these kind of, I would say, even limitations?
Again, I look at every situation as an opportunity. If Volkswagen is not going to introduce more mechanical or ICE based cars, this is the biggest opportunity customers have to own our cars, much acclaimed cars. That is how I would like to see it. That is not a message that I would like to give out. In this business, you never say never.
Yeah.
But definitely the message from the brand globally is that we are moving towards electrification naturally.
Right.
We had an interaction with Thomas Schaefer, our global CEO 3 weeks back, and the unequivocal message was that Volkswagen is moving ahead towards electrification. But having said that, 2 weeks ago we were in Hamburg, where the brand had a massive event showcasing our product portfolio to global media and 15,000 dealers worldwide spread over 2 years. And the entire portfolio for the next 5 years was showcased, including MQB cars, including electric cars.
Right.
Right? It's a question of how do we now utilize this future portfolio that is coming globally into India. And I firmly believe there are two pillars that we need to move as a brand in India. One is premiumization, where we have taken a huge step by moving away from lower ticket size cars
Right.
to the Taigun and Virtus now. And the second is electrification.
Right.
So these are the two pillars which will define our brand going in.
Right. So when premiumization, as you put it, the parts and components, what you call or what we call CKD cars, is also a small volumes but a pivotal role. Are we going to see that enhanced going
Definitely,
forward?
definitely.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Premiumization has to start with the proof of premiumization.
Right.
I think the Taigun and Virtus are now in the premium part of each of their segments.
So
And we have
going
to build on. Yeah.
So you've got Tiguan.
We have the Tiguan. There's a new 7-seater coming up globally. I can't say the name, but we have the Touareg available globally. There's a new T-Roc coming.
Right.
Yeah, so based on the different platform,
Right.
so there are a lot of cars, especially
Right.
SUVs that we are working on
Right.
to prove that we are moving towards premiumization.
Right. So, Ashish, just to stick with the ICE vehicles, what is your sense of the ICE market? I mean, it's still growing by the look of it, and within that, obviously, you also want to grow. Clearly, ICE is still an important strategy
Sure.
in India, but Volkswagen is thinking more EV. I wouldn't say conflict, but is this a bit of a, let's say, a challenge where the parent is pushing on electrification, but India is still very strong in ICE?
No, definitely. Yes, when you look at engineering capabilities and where the resources are being put, in line with the strategy over the next 10 years, more resources and more engineering capabilities have to move towards electric. No doubt about it. But having said that, as I just said, the portfolio showcased in Hamburg had an equal weightage on ICE and electric.
Right. No, but for us, ICE, for us, let's be honest,
Yeah.
ICE, I think the mass market does stop with 2.0. I think you're not part
As
of
I
the-
said, I
yeah.
never say never.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, so just in that sense, I want to know, I mean, obviously these are quite clever interventions which you've done, I must say, with the colors and a little bit of enhancement. You're playing with the cards that are dealt with you.
You can be more generous, Hormazd.
No, I'm saying you're playing well with the cards that are dealt to you. But but you feel still that that you've got a lot of strong. I mean, I'm sure there's more on
Yeah.
this as well
Yeah.
left. I mean, you
course.
haven't fired all your bullets.
It's the beginning, Hormazd.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ashish, just you're a sales guy.
And a marketing.
And a marketing guy, but on sales, want to ask you, can you give a number that you think these cars will give you this year?
So I'm looking at a business plan of around 55,000 cars. All conditions apply. Of course, the supply
with
situation,
blue skies ahead.
the market, 55 to 60,000 is what I'm looking at. Quarter one has been good. We reached close to 12,000 cars in the first quarter. We grew by almost 15% compared to Q1 last year, which was more than industry growth of 11% in quarter.
Right.
So things look good. And I think with these new variants, I should be able to add, and with the new network, I should be able to add around 20% volume for the rest of the year.
That's really, I think, a good number to get, especially in this market. And one last thing, I mean, before we get to the EV part, what's your sense of the market? I mean, the stock, it is slightly softening. I mean, do you think, obviously, the pull that there was last year, are you seeing it continuing this year? Or are we seeing that the base is quite high and we're seeing a bit of a flattening out effect?
Exactly, and that's the mirage of it. We are blinded by the astronomical growth we have seen in the last 2 or 3 years. 20%, 25% growth, 22 or 26% above 2021. So when you've reached a high base of 330,000 cars every month, even 8 to 10% growth is very strong.
In absolute volume.
In absolute volume. So that's what we should look at. I would say that if the Indian market continues to grow at this pace, we will easily reach 6 million cars by 2030.
Right.
Yeah, that's a compounded annual growth rate of 6% gets us to 5.5 million.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ashish, last bit, switching to EVs, still not made a plan.
Yeah.
I understand May is going to be a time when there's going to be a decision.
You know better than me.
ID4 coming or not.
What is your source? Not me.
Yeah, don't worry, it's not him saying it on camera. So I mean, that's the time we'll know one way or another.
Yeah.
That, but obviously, what are the challenges? Because obviously there's a lot in it. There's a cost factor. Just so that we understand, what are the challenges in launching a vehicle like an ID4 in the Indian market?
No, I think if you look at it from a bird's eye view, there isn't any challenge.
Right.
Yeah. The ID4 is a product which is available globally. The platform is ready. What stops us or what takes time is the release for India specific.
Got it.
The technology needs to be proven.
And now with these new battery regulations for small volumes, it causes a lot of work.
India in the Volkswagen world is classified as a hot and humid and rough road country.
Right.
So any platform that needs to be released for India needs to undergo extensive testing for our conditions.
And there's a cost to that.
Yes, of course there's a cost and timeline.
Right.
More than cost, I would say it's the time it takes to reprove that technology for a country like India, which is, I think, very important. As a sales guy and as a marketing guy, and you would say, "Yaar, Gadi, you have the car, why can't you bloody get it?"
Yeah.
But at some level, I do understand the engineers when we get into those discussions of they cannot take a chance.
Right.
They cannot take a risk.
Right.
Yeah. For a car like this.
And clearly, looking at the way let's say the pace of electrification has picked up in India, that must be quite encouraging. And now is the focus shifting on there? What models can be then? Because I'm sure from 25 to 30, we'll be seeing an electrification portfolio fully on the radar.
Yeah, that's the endeavor.
Right. But obviously, I think first vehicle, something like an ID4, would be logical. And can we end by saying it's a matter of when and not if, or that question will be answered maybe 2 months down?
No, definitely, I can truly tell you it's a matter of when and not if.
Congratulations, and look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Ashish.